What it do, golf fans? Welcome back to the Turn Dollars Golf Podcast. This is Liam. Alongside me is Jack. Jack, we had a great week in golf. I mean, you could argue that the field wasn't that strong, but I'm saying last week, John Deere Classic, you could argue the field was not that strong.
For a typical John Deere Classic field, that was pretty good.
I completely agree. But you and I had a great week, all things considered. So kind of start me out. Let's not skip over it. Davis Thompson was the winner. Love to see it. Not to spoil it, but Jack and I may have had a lot of action on Davis Thompson, so that's quite good.
And if you're just trying to see what golf podcast to follow, Jack may have picked Davis Thompson to win just to save you some time. You should probably listen to the episode.
There you go. Overall, though, you can talk about Davis Thompson. You can talk about everybody else. What did you think of the week?
It was spectacular. Now, let me get this straight. I know I'm biased. I know you're biased. We've played this course 100 times.
Yep.
After the Western and BMW was removed from Illinois consecutively, this became kind of the Illinois staple event. So it's always nice to watch, and I'm always kind of a sucker for it, and kind of watching the pros, how they play, how we play, kind of taking that all into consideration. It was really nice to see Jordan Spieth come into form for like 38 holes, which was really cool. It was really nice.
What did he finish, like T40?
I don't think it was that bad, but he played good. I think this was an event he needed to play, and I was really happy he did. It was a really fun week. Now, granted, I think I texted on Sunday that I was 32 minutes into ESPN Plus coverage without seeing a single shot live. That was a blunder. Everything else, I was happy. God dang, Davis Thompson, you are a machine.
Yeah, that was nasty. Again, Davis Thompson, great win. I loved this past week personally just because it was a young guys kind of shootout. Outside of like Ludwig Aubert, they probably had a lot of the next big names in golf in terms of college and, just out of college guys.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I thought
you
were saying excluded. I was like, hold on now.
No. I'm talking like 24 and under, 23 and under, maybe. That's kind of this next group. We got Davis Thompson, Ludwig Aubert, maybe Luke Clanton, maybe Neil Shipley,
it's hard for me to loop the last two guys in. Now, granted, hear me out. Yeah, I know you agree, because the world is all about what's next. Someone pops up the scene, what's next? I'm sure everybody saw. I posted a TikTok saying, Scotty Scheffler, you can't compare him to Tiger. It was like, oh, Scotty Scheffler's the greatest golfer of all time. I'm like, my God, who did you start watching and playing golf in COVID? Like, granted, he's the number one player in the world by a country mile and a half, but you can't compare. Anyway, but like Michael Thorbjornsen, PGA Tour U, dominance, good for him. You can make that argument that he is one of the next guys. Ludwig Aubert was one class before him, and he's a top 10 player in the world. It's hard to make that. Luke Clanton, though, he's had two spectacular performances, and I'm not trying to take that away from him. You can't make that jump after two events. I'm sorry.
I'm a little worried Luke Clanton might Nick Dunlap. Might pull a Nick Dunlap where he has this streak. He does really well. He gets a bunch of events that he's into. He might have a learning curve. Now, Nick Dunlap is arguably getting a little bit more adjusted, depending on who you ask. And
this will be the week because he's the favorite in the event he's playing at this week. And my fear is, and I think a lot of professional golfers will have this. I'm assuming there's 1,000 professional golfers listening. It's called a curve, a rebound curve. What happens is a lot of these guys come in and they play PGA Tour events. Justin Thomas talked about it. Jordan Spieth talked about it when they're like 16, 17. They're freshly out of college, depending on when some of these guys, and they play well. And then they go to these lower tier events, and I say lower tier respectively, and they think they're going to win, and they crash out, and it kills their confidence. So 100%. I am scared for Luke Clanton. I hope he does well, because my God, that kid's a stick with the wedges. My good Lord.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But again, I hope that year in and year out, John Deere continues to get guys in their early to mid 20s to play in this event, because it made it quite fun. I enjoyed watching it on Sunday because I get to watch a lot of the kids between the ages of 20 and 25 try and win a golf tournament that they otherwise probably wouldn't be able to win because it's got Rory or Scotty or Xander or one of those guys.
Yeah, I also think that when the LIV PGA Tour agreement comes into play, they say, hey, everybody from LIV kind of penalize you, go play John Deere for a year. I wouldn't be mad at that.
Yeah, I mean, you get like John Deere 3M Open kind of set up. Corrales is going to turn into a crazy tournament that year.
Hey, 3M is a legit event still.
Outside of that, anybody else stand out to you? Again, I kind of commented on it. Luke Clanton, great runner-up, or T2, technically. Sorry, I wasn't.
I wish I could put this finger up and not feel bad about it. Maverick McNeely.
Yeah.
I know you're watching. I know you're watching because we're best friends. What?
Just to highlight it, notable guys to miss the cut: Maverick McNeely, Luke List, Neil Shipley, Alex Smalley, Matt Kuchar, Nick Dunlap, Michael Kim, and Daniel Berger. Obviously, the highlight there is Maverick McNeely. You expected a little better of him. I expect a little better of him. I think the Neil Shipley miscut was understandable after he peaked and then he kind of fell back. But Maverick McNeely, that is not a tournament you should be missing the cut on, especially considering it is arguably a putting fest, and you are supposed to be like a top 10 putter on tour, depending on the week. So, yeah.
I have no words because that guy should have. No, granted, Davis Thompson shot 28 under or whatever he did. Maverick McNeely probably shouldn't have competed with that. Yep. But you're telling me you can't fire 4 under around at Deer Run? My God.
He's got to get 5 under to make the cut. I mean, he's got to make 3 under one day, 2 under another day. That's all you need. So
I have no words.
Could have been done. With that, let's loop into DraftKings and FanDuel. It'll highlight some of the other things along the way, but that way we can kind of continue to push things along. So
yes.
How'd your lineups go?
Well, let's have a nice week. Now, outside of Maverick McNeely, which F you, DraftKings, I went. I 4 guys make the cut, and Aaron Rai. First of all, Aaron Rai, you need to start finishing on Sundays. You're about to turn into the Xander Schauffele of like the 8K range.
Patrick Cantlay early this year, where he just fell apart on Sundays.
Aaron Rai was in there. Eric Cole called it. Top 10 finish. Chandler Phillips, you're welcome. Ben Silverman, my cheapest guy at 7,100 alongside top 15 finish, if I remember. I just completely removed my notes. That one, and then I'll loop in FanDuel really quickly. Aaron Rai, thank you. Davis Thompson, you're welcome. Chandler Phillips, thank you. And Ben Silverman, Neil Shipley, and Maverick McNeely missed the cut in both of my lineups, but I still made money. I don't know how it all works, but I guess when you have a winner in your lineup, you do pretty well.
Yeah, I was gonna say it tends to work out. Between my DraftKings and FanDuel, they're pretty identical. Maverick McNeely, Davis Thompson, Denny McCarthy, and then Will Gordon, Michael Thorbjornsen, Seamus Power, Neil Shipley, Nick Hardy. Couple miscuts, couple top 10s. Obviously Davis Thompson and Thorbjornsen, I had them in lineups. I also had Denny in both lineups, who was T7. So there's 3 guys in your top 10. Seamus Power, I think, was like T15, T17. But like, again, Maverick McNeely miscut. Will Gordon missed the cut at -2. Nick Hardy, I think, shot +4 on Friday to miss the cut. So thank you, Nick Hardy, for that. And then Neil Shipley also missed it on the number. On to bets. How'd your bets do last week?
This is a first for me. I had 6 bets, and I went up and down exactly $0.00.
That's spectacular.
I genuinely don't know how that's possible, but I don't make the math. I'm not smart enough for that. I had Maverick McNeely. I had Neil Shipley. Obviously, you guys know what happened on that one. I had Chandler Phillips top 40, barely missed. My God, he was. I hate him because he was under par a lot and then sucked on Sunday.
I think he parred 17 too, which again is a pretty easily birdieable par 5. So if you would have just birdied that nice long par 5, you definitely hit top 40.
But we did have Ben Silverman top 40 at +175. You're welcome. Denny McCarthy top 40. You're welcome. And Aaron Rai top 40. You're welcome. I feel like I obviously in hindsight could I have done top 20 on all of them and probably retired my parents, my future children, my cousins, and their wives? Absolutely. But hey, I'm up 46.98 units, going up $0.00.
If it makes you feel any better, I feel the same way about instead of doing top 40 bets for me, I could have done top 20 for all these guys and been up way more. Last week I did 4 bets. I had Neil Shipley top 40 at plus 160. That was a loss. I had Michael Thorbjornsen top 40 at plus 125, which just felt illegal, but that was a win. Seamus Power top 40 at plus 110. That was also a win. And then Davis Thompson over Jason Day. Woulda, coulda, shoulda on that one. But again, I picked the winner, so I guess it's fine. I went 3 for 4. I'm up 2.18 units on the week, and I'm currently positive 5.83 units on the year. So we're just floating right around that positive number.
Let's go.
So I will highlight it because we kind of talked about it last week. Jack and I did a Harry Higgs versus Will Gordon pick just for fun, and they both missed the cut, and it was pretty close. I mean, Harry Higgs beat him, I think, by 2 shots. So if you want the win there, congrats, but he missed the cut.
Heck yeah, I do. I need to boost my ego a little bit.
He missed the cut too, though, so like I can't give you too much credit on that one. Onto wild picks. I'll just go quickly first. I had KH Lee top 30 at plus 225. Again, that was the whole TPC, want to see what was going on thing. Missed the cut, wasn't very pretty. No worries.
Yep. We hit Chandler Phillips, round 1 top 20 at plus 425. Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome. I did have Neil Shipley, round 1 top 20 at plus 400, but that guy decided to get intimidated by the easiest course on the PGA Tour. So I don't know what to say there, but hey, plus 425 makes up for that loss.
There you go. And then arguably, I'm going to say it's our hottest section since the U.S. Open, which I know you're going to be like, it's like 4 weeks. Who cares, Liam? Why do you care? I mean, it's 4 weeks where we've picked a runner-up or better each of the last 4 weeks. I'll start off because mine was worse this week as far as winners picks.
And it feels illegal to say.
Yeah. I had Aaron Rai, who I think was T2 at the start of Sunday and finished T7. And then I had Michael Thorbjornsen, who was T7 at the start of Sunday and finished T2. So 2 top 10s. Again, this is the third week in a row that I've picked a top 10, third week in a row that I've picked a runner up. So it was Thorbjornsen last week. It was Davis Thompson the week before at the Rocket Mortgage. And then it was Tom Kim the week before that at the Travelers when he lost to Scotty in the playoff.
Sounds like you should get better.
So if you're keeping track, I know I'm really shitty at picking winners picks for you guys, but I've picked 3 runners up in 3 weeks. Sorry.
Well, I hate to follow up on that one, but in 3 weeks I've picked 2 winners and it's doing pretty damn good.
Yeah, 100%.
I'll start out with my second guy who had a terrible showing at Eric Cole, who I believe was like 80 to 1. Like, it was ridiculous. I loved it. I told you guys. But the big winner, Davis frickin' Thompson, boom shakalaka, 32 to 1. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, solid week. Again, 4 winners picks. Nobody finished worse than tied 7th of those winners picks. You could have quite literally taken any of our winners picks this week, and I am sure you did infinitely better than a majority of the people that did one and dones.
Absolutely.
So, nicely done. We love that for us, and we're going to try to do our best to continue with those top 10s for you guys. On to this week. We are going to...
Whoa.
What?
We have to have one conversation before we go on. Anders Larson shot 24 over with an 86 on Sunday.
Why you got to call him out like that? I mean, that's a little cruel and unusual punishment. It is so
cruel. It is so cruel. Straight up, would I would have beat him?
Probably. Probably. And again, that's from the tips. I think you would have been fine. We there was a discussion over the weekend in the group chat amongst the boys. Again, assuming it's par 71, I had Jack listed as 74-70. Reason why I'm giving him 74 the first day is I think he's 100% hitting a bystander off the first tee on Thursday.
Straight hosel rocket into somebody's jaw. Straight hosel. Listen, I get nervous on like the 4th of July charity scramble, let alone Deer Run. Are you kidding me? Whoever's to the left of me needs to put an umbrella up or something. Like, you can't watch. Once I get past that, I'm good though.
Yeah, so once you're off the tee there, you're good. You make double on the first hole. And again, at that point, you shoot basically right around even par otherwise for the rest of the day. The next day, you shoot 1 under because you're like, oh, shit, I'm going to get in the zone here. You see a girl out in the crowds, you want to impress, whatever the deal is.
Well, just to give a perspective, listen, I'm sure Anders Larson, I have no idea who that is probably like a +8 handicap. I'm a +4.1. So like, I know I'm good in vein, but you're telling me I can't do +20. Oh my God.
It's also
82, 82, and I could have beat him. 82, 83, and I could have beat him.
It's technically your hometown course in terms of PGA Tour too. So there's a little, there's a little bit of a gift there. Look, it's a tough week. Let's hope that Anders plays better next tournament he goes into, regardless of where it's at.
Yeah, at what, the freaking Krispy Kreme Open in his local Muni? Anders Larson, my man.
Potentially. Let's not trash talk him anymore. That's cruel and unusual punishment.
I hope he didn't go to like my school. I gotta look him up real quick.
I was gonna say watch as he like went to high school at a local high school near us.
Tennessee Tech.
Oh no! All right, there you go.
3-time qualifier for the Minnesota Am.
There we go. He just had a tough week. All right. Let's stop the trash talk on Anders Larson here. We're going to the Genesis Scottish Open. In Scotland, in case you aren't paying attention. This is a par 70 totaling 7,290 yards. It is known as the Renaissance course?
Okay. He's a freshman at Tennessee Tech. Okay, I feel a lot worse. I just talked trash on a 19-year-old.
Yeah, there you go.
But I would have smoked you.
So again, talking about, the young golfers and what the John Deere's trying to do. Kid probably had just a few 200-300 nerves on that first tee box on Thursday as a 19-year-old, type of deal. Anyways, par 70, 7,290 yards, the Renaissance. Last year's winner, Rory McIlroy, he beat Robert McIntyre on Sunday. Just a quick reminder before anything else, this event is going to take place in Scotland. So if you're doing DFS, if you're doing bets, just do it before like 9 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. Don't mess around trying to get it done any later than that, because then you're going to run into potentially having everything lock up as far as, bets and DFS or changes. This is a new course when it comes to PGA Tour standards. It only became a PGA Tour sanctioned event in 2022. It is paralleled with a DP World Tour. So you're going to see a pretty decent mix of PGA and DP Tour players in the field this week. Some highlights of the course. During calm weather, players can easily score low here, as evidenced by a winning mark of 22 under in 2019. However, when wind and rain become a factor, we've seen that mark basically cut in half, if not more. Aaron Rai showed us the following year, winning, I think, at like 11 or 12 under. And then in 2022, this event was a grind with super tough winds and tough conditions. Xander Schauffele won this at just 7 under par. So it's really going to be weather dependent. Keep an eye on weather. Guys that play good in weather is nice, but like good luck picking guys that are going to specifically play really good in weather. It's kind of like picking rabbits out of a hat. You have a few good options, but beyond that, you're just taking chances. Some additional highlights, some shorter hitters like Tom Kim, Aaron Rai, and David Lingmerth have all been in contention over the last 4 years, even though they don't hit the ball very hard or far. But there are 3 reachable par 5s, a drivable par 4, and 6 additional par 4s over 450 yards, which do give an advantage to longer hitters. At the 2021 Scottish Open, all 3 players in the playoff, which were Minwoo Lee, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Thomas Dietrich, ranked top 30 in driving distance entering the week. In both 2022 and 2023, 11 of the top 15 finishers were above average in driving distance for the week. So it's not vital, but driving distance is going to be very important. These are extremely wide fairways, relatively extremely wide fairways at the Renaissance this week. Just to highlight it, a few of the top 10 players in driving distance this week: Rory McIlroy, Adri Arnaud, Benny On, Minwoo Lee, Wyndham Clark, Vincent Norman, Keith Mitchell, Gary Woodland, Richard Mansell, and Ryan Fox. Now,
Did you just say Gary Woodland for driving distance?
Correct. I know it doesn't make any sense, but that is for the entire year. It's a super funky metric. It also includes guys on other tours, which is why you get Adri Arnaud, Richard Mansell, guys like that.
Well, Adri's played some PGA Tour events.
Well, again, there's some semantics involved, but there's a lot of tours involved this week, so keep that in mind. Beyond that, again, driving distance, a little bit of around the green play, half decent putter this week is really, I think, kind of what you need, in my personal opinion. Approach is always nice, but like you need approach every week. So like I'm not including that this week. All right, with that, Jack, you want to loop in these top 4 guys in DraftKings for the DFS pricing and tell me who you like?
Should be top 5, but it is Rory McIlroy, Xander Schauffele, Ludwig Aubert, and Collin Morikawa.
There we go. I have bits on all these guys. They're all solid options in my opinion. The only reason you wouldn't put Rory in your lineup is if you're nervous after his choke at the U.S. Open.
Get out of here with that choke talk.
I know. That's being facetious. Or you can't fit his 11,900 price into your lineup, which I don't know why you wouldn't, but maybe you can't. He has 4 top 4 or better finishes in his last 6 starts, and he's been averaging approximately 10 strokes tee to green in his last 5 starts. He's second best player on tour right now, playing at an event that he won last year, on good form. It just makes sense. Totally understand if you want to go to Rory. I'll go to Xander just because he's got a similar story to Rory. He's got 5 straight top 13 or better finishes, including the win at the PGA. He lost a stroke and a half at the Memorial, which caused him to struggle. He finished a putrid, 8th place, man. What a bad finish. That was considered a bad week, by the way, in his standards, because he finished outside of top 7. So, yeah. I mean, I have some on Collin Morikawa, too. You just want me to go through this whole lineup, or what do you...
All
right. Take away the Zurich Classic, which, again, is a team event, and you have 7 straight top 16 or better finishes for Collin. Over those 7 events, he averaged over 5 strokes tee to green, only losing 1 time on approach and 1 time putting. Both of those losses combined for a negative 0.8 strokes towards the field. He is probably top 5 on tour since the Masters in terms of overall play. I know that's an aggressive take, but he is basically that golfer that we saw win the Open.
I would have said top 3.
I know. I was trying to be give a little leeway depending on who you wanted to include in otherwise. I think he's 3 or 4 because there's probably Scotty, Xander,
just
Rory.
In case Anders is in there.
Yeah, exactly. If you wanted to make Collin 4 because you got Scotty, Rory, Xander, I totally get it. So I went safe and said top 5. I like any of those guys. It's going to be tough if you can fit 2 of them in. Do it. Other than that,
cheers.
Okay. All right. Tell me who you like in this range.
I think Xander is the safest option. And the reason I say that is he's been, I say this every single time, most consistent player, tee to green on the PGA Tour. Won here in 2022, 10th place finish in 2021, average placement of 17.7. He's been on a frickin' heater the entire year. I mean, his only mishap was at the Pebble Beach when I think there were literal seagulls flying sideways due to the weather conditions that were going on that week.
Yeah, I would say that was a bad weather week that was cut off after 54 holes too. So
yeah, that was just ridiculous. Rory McIlroy, obviously, you can never count out. He's on just absolute pure form. The last 2 starts outside of his win here, he did miss the cut and finished 34th. I question his momentum coming into the week, and obviously that is a really hard thing to gauge because it's either going to be I'm going to kill every single human being that comes out of this and I'm coming for everybody's throat, or it's I need to go out and play. This is just an event that's home near me. I can kind of fly there. I don't know because we haven't heard, and that scares me. But I'm hoping Rory McIlroy going into next week being a major is coming at everybody's throats. Ludwig has struggled at this event. But I think that he's a way different golfer than when he was, and I think the stats are showing that. Much like Collin Morikawa, who's also struggled at this event, I don't foresee him struggling. I think if you're able to get any one of these guys in your lineup, you're going to be fine. I'd go Xander, though.
I like Xander. I agree. Ludwig is a little concerning, but I saw that there was a note on him that last year, the flight, because again, last year, Ludwig Aubert played in the John Deere Classic and then flew over here. He said that the flight and the turnaround to go from John Deere to Genesis wrecked him. And so he was not in a good mindset to go play golf then at the Scottish Open. He missed the cut. He's not playing the John Deere this year. he's probably making the cut. I think he's maybe the quote unquote riskiest of any of these four guys. But I don't blame you if you want to go to it. I mean, the guy's only 13 for 14 on cuts with 6 top 10s.
Sucks. So, that's what I miss about John Deere Classic, because it used to be before the schedule change, right before the Open, and the event was basically who didn't qualify for the Open that wants to go try and play, and then they charter those guys out. Mm-hmm. And then they just unbelievably missed the cut. But I think if I'm going to rank these guys in order, I think Xander and Rory are tied for me, because Xander is obviously the most consistent. But if Rory McIlroy is actually coming into it with, I took a couple weeks off golf, I'm fresh, I'm motivated, I'm ready to go out, the form that he's coming in is as good as anybody on the tour right now. So I think those two are 1A and B respectively, and then Åberg and Morikawa are 1C and D for me. I can't rank anybody higher than that.
I'm going to give you a ranking 1 to 4. Give me Xander 1, Colin 2, Rory 3, Ludwig 4.
Cool.
They're all close. If you swap Rory and Colin, I totally get it. But I think Colin is in great form. I actually really like him this week. So
done.
We go starting Tommy Fleetwood 9,900 all the way down to Matt Fitzpatrick. Well, I say that there's 6 guys in this range. Down to Matt Fitzpatrick at 9,000.
Yeah. So of players that have played at least 4 times in the 5-year stretch, this has been an event. Tommy Fleetwood ranks number 1 with an average finish of 9.5. He has a runner-up, a 4th, and a 6th place finish, winning in strokes gained total with 34.24 strokes gained in 16 rounds. This guy is a monster. He's due for a win. He is due for a win. He is due for a win on the PGA frickin' Tour. My good Lord.
This is the perfect spot that I would see him winning, by the way, too, because it's not in the continental U.S. It's a co-sanctioned event with the DP World Tour. Like, it just screams like Tommy Fleetwood.
Still a PGA Tour win, though.
I completely agree. But, like, it's the kind of one where it's like this makes tons of sense just based on thought process for Tommy to win.
All the homies love Tommy Fleetwood.
100%. I'm high on him, so I get it.
I'm high on him. Secondarily, Tom Kim. In 2 attempts here, he has a 6th place and a 3rd place finish, much like how you talked about earlier in the week. Driving distance is a bonus, but it's not necessarily all or nothing. So he's been really good here. He actually gains 2.36 shots gained on average, which is the highest of the top 20 players in the field, which is really, really nice. And that's taking his stats here. He does have a negative in terms of his 8 rounds here, where he lost 0.01 off the tee. So watch out for that. But he's also been playing really, really well outside of the Rocket Mortgage. He's had some really good stretches, and I think that can continue. And if you play Victor Hovland here, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, you highlighted a few of the guys I'll go to, but I'm going to say some of my notes on them still.
Yeah.
Tommy Fleetwood gained in strokes gained approach in 6 straight tournaments. During that stretch, he's finished no worse than T26. That T26 was at the PGA Championship, which is a major. So, it's probably like a T15, T20 in a normal event. He's also gained with a putter in 5 of his last 6 starts. Jack kind of went through his elite history. He's got a T6, a T4, and a runner-up. Hideki, he drives it well. He's one of the best approach games in the world, who is also one of the best around the green players in the world. Oh, and he's also gained with the putter in 5 straight tournaments.
And he's played. He's made all 4 rounds.
Bingo. So again, I like him in terms of viability at the price point. Let's say, Tommy Fleetwood's a bit too expensive at 9,900. You just can't get him in your lineup for whatever reason. Hideki at 94 is a bit of a discount, and I think he's probably like the 1B to Tommy, or 1C if you like Tom Kim more. I'll talk about Tom Kim. Bit of a Walmart off-brand version of Morikawa so far this year. Much like Colin, he's been significantly better since the Masters. He's had, again, T6 and a 3rd here in his 2 starts. You could look at his finishes and say he missed the cut recently, but that was after the playoff loss to Scotty Scheffler, which had the protesters and had a lot of semantics going on behind the scenes. I'm willing to forgive Tom Kim for 1 cut after all that kind of stuff going on. And then you talked about Hovland. He's lost strokes gained around the green in 10 of his last 11 starts. In his 2 starts here, he finished T25 1 year, missed the cut another year. Again, you need a high level of around the green play this week in order to do well. I'm just fading him based on the fact that he's 9,700. And I like the two guys below him because I think they're both better value and probably going to finish better this week in terms of finishes.
Not mad at that.
We didn't really talk about Minwoo Lee or Fitzpatrick. Minwoo Lee has good course history here, but he's kind of like total hit and miss. You don't know what Minwoo Lee you're getting based on any given week. So I'm probably avoiding him. He'll probably play well this week. He's
also going to be, I think, super high owned.
I agree. This is kind of course that does well. Again, he's got the driving distance, and he's got he's got a decent putter. So I think he's going to be very popular in terms of choices. But again, I think he's going to probably finish like T25, which he'll be fine. But again, not my cup of tea. Matt Fitzpatrick feels like he should do well this week, but he just hasn't really been performing as well as you'd hoped. So I think with him, it's going to be a wait and see. He might, again, do well this week, but it's somebody that I don't really want to, I'd rather be a little late to Matt Fitzpatrick as opposed to a little early on catching up to that curve because he's usually good for like 6 weeks. Cool. Into the 8K range we go. Corey Connors, 8,900, all the way down to Jordan Spieth at 8,000.
I love Jordan Spieth, man. I miss him dominating in Europe. I think for me, there's one guy I'm targeting, and it is Aaron Rai.
Yep.
Yeah, he has missed in 5 attempts here. He's missed 3 cuts. But in that stretch, he also has a win here and a 35th place finish. Coming into this week, he might be the hottest golfer outside of the top 20 in the world rankings. If he's top 20, he's like snuck in 19. That's on me. I apologize. But he's hit just dominance, and he's caught fire since he just sucked at Corrales. I honestly, for 8,300, you're going to be a former winner and a guy that's hit like top 40 in his last 7 events, including back-to-back top 10s and a runner-up. This feels like a opportunity to kind of throw the dart there, and hopefully it sticks.
Yeah, I'm a big fan on Aaron Rai this week too. He's gained on approach in his last 7 starts. During that stretch, he has not finished worse than T39, including 3 top 10s. He's averaged 6.75 strokes gained tee to green over those 7 weeks as well. And he lost with the putter a grand total of 3 times. Those are his only metrics that he's lost anything on during that stretch. If you don't know, putting is kind of Aaron Rai's kryptonite. That's normally what he's not good at, like at all. So the fact that he's gaining with the putter as much as he is means it's probably going to be a good thing. Who else is in this range? There's Theegala right below him at 8,200. He's lost strokes with the putter in 5 of his last 6 starts, but his finishes are still really good, all things considered. He's got 2 T12s. He's also got 2 T50s and then a missed cut. It's weird. He's just not in good form. I'm avoiding him this week at 8,200 because I think that I want to see something from him first before anything else.
Yeah, I'm also avoiding Sung Jae.
Really? Okay.
Yes, he is good, but he has finished outside of 100th place both times he's played here. He's lost shots almost everywhere. The only spots that he's gained is 0.13 shots in the ball striking field and 0.32 on off the tee. Everything else is in the negatives. I just don't see a lot of positive coming from that. And I think the courses that he has been playing well at, you take a look at, John Deere, Travelers, Memorial, Charles Schwab, it's basically like black and white. Like they could not be farther apart. And I think that a lot of casual golfers and casual DFS players are going to click on him, see recent history, and throw him in their lineup. And I think this is a spot that you can avoid and really capitalize on some of the other guys here.
Yeah, Sung Jae, it shows he's 13 for 19 on cuts, but I think he missed 4 cuts in his first 7 starts.
Yeah, he's definitely better.
So in reality, he's a much better golfer. Take away the majors, and I think he's got a 6-week stretch of top 25 finishes. But again, this is just not the course that he's perfect on. If you don't want to take Aaron Rai because he's going to be popular in this range, Sung Jae is probably my next bet. I mean, maybe Corey Connors just because of the iron play, but it's not, there's nobody else in this range outside of Aaron Rai that I really want to go click to. For me, it's Aaron Rai, 50 feet of crap, and then the rest of this range almost.
Wyndham Clark's played well here in the past. I'm not saying he will, but he has.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate because this is also the literal least predictive course in the entire PGA Tour season. So
true. All right. Well, I know we're light on that round, but it just seems like we're not huge on a bunch of these guys. I mean, JT, Harmon, Spieth, we'll just avoid those guys. See what happens next week. Into the 7K range, Davis Thompson, last week's winner, 7,900, all the way down to, I'll save him, Erik van Rooyen, 7,000.
Cool. Yeah. So, my man Tom McKibben. You heard me talk about him before. If you watch my DP World Tour video, you've heard me talk about him. I have a man crush for him. I don't even know what he looks like, but he wins me tons of money. So that's a positive for me. Tom McKibben has been dominating. In his last 14 events, 11 of them have been top 40. Runner-up at the Italian Open, 6th place at the KLM, and 8th in the European Open. Played in the U.S. Open, finishing 41st, which is mad impressive considering the field that was actually playing and the stretch of golf. He is a dominant force on the DP World Tour. If you are living under a rock, 7K is insane because I think, according to the odds, he's like 23rd best odds to win, or worst odds to win all. It's like he's behind like Wyndham Clark. Like, it's ridiculous how high he up. So for 7K, that's a steal.
One of the things, guys, that you'll hear throughout the 7, 6, and 5Ks is we're going to talk about a lot of guys on like the DP World Tour, the Asian Tour, the Korean Tour. We're going to mention a lot more of those guys because those are probably not the guys you're keeping track of week after week. Tom McKibben is a spectacular. That's the stuff Jack keeps an eye on specifically.
Hi, my name is Jack, and I'm a degenerate golf watcher.
I have a few notes on McKibben as well that I'll say quickly, and then Jack can run through the rest of his. He basically hasn't played on a PGA Tour course since the Scottish Open or the U.S. Open of this year, but he's been crushing it on the DP World Tour. He's averaged 10.2 strokes gained tee to green in his last 5 starts on the DP Tour. His putter is arguably streaky, so it's giving Walmart Aaron Rai vibes, which, again, we just talked about how good Aaron Rai is probably going to be this week. Again, Walmart Aaron Rai, same concept, also in great form. He's spectacular off the tee and has got spectacular approach play. He has 7 top 12 or better finishes in his last 10 starts on the DP World Tour. So McKibben is going to be a really good choice. If there's like 1 or 2 guys on the DP World Tour you want to keep an eye on, he would probably be at the top of the list for me.
Number 1. Absolutely number 1 for me. Next guy I'll talk about a little bit is Thomas Detry. And if you're a OG fan of the Turn Dog Golf Pod, well, number 1, thank you. You're probably like, well, that's a name I haven't heard of after you guys mentioned it for 37 weeks straight. This is an event that he actually plays really, really well at. He's played this event all 5 times with an average finish of 25.4. 14th in the U.S. Open, 4th at the PGA. So he's been playing really well at these big events. Kind of middling performances everywhere else. But I think for 7,200, this could be a really good spot to target just with the history, even though, again, it's least predictable. But I think with this is a really familiar spot for him. I think he kind of really dominates this track. And this is a spot that I could see him really surpassing that ADP.
Yeah.
No, average draft position. That's not what I meant to say. But I think everyone got the gist of what I was trying to say.
Yeah, he'll be good as far as DFS line of 7,200. I think he's making the cut. He's been a sneaky winner's pick this week for people that are looking at it. I'll mention Benny On just based on driving distance. This is a guy again who was part of that group in the top 10. Extremely streaky putter, pretty good iron play. He's got 5 top 10s, which is pretty much more than anybody else who plays PGA Tour consistently in this range outside of Bez, who he's tied with, who I'll talk about in a minute. Actually, I'll just loop into him now. Christian Bezuidenhout, it's been like 3 weeks since he's golfed, so you guys might have forgotten about him. He's gained with the putter and around the green in 7 straight starts. He's basically gained in every category not named strokes gained off the tee since like March, which is a crazy stretch. He missed the cut at the PGA, but otherwise has finished tied 30th or better every other week on like since that March stretch, which is crazy. So keep Bez in mind. I'm going to mention Davis Thompson just because he did win last week. We called talking about wanting like how to be at the beginning of the bell curve last week. If anybody listened to last week's podcast, I was like, you want to catch a guy kind of when he's going up the bell curve and he's starting to perform a little bit better. My major concern with Davis Thompson is that we might have just hit his peak of the bell curve. He is probably going to have a little bit of regression the next few weeks coming off of the win. He gained 12 strokes tee to green last week. and he's got 6 tied 27 or better finishes in his last 7 starts. Again, I just don't think it's going to last this week kind of going forward. I'm anticipating kind of the Ludwig Gobert type of like, did really well at the John Deere, took the flight over to the Scottish Open, missed the cut kind of a vibe this week. That's kind of what I'm anticipating from Davis Thompson. Not that he's a bad golfer. I'm sure he's going to come back and play great in the future, but this is not the week I would go to him by any means.
Poor guy.
Sorry. We just picked you as a winner's pick the last 2 weeks. I took him 2 weeks ago. You took him last week. So he's just due. I'll talk about, I want to say McIntyre's in this range, right?
Yep. Just below Davis.
Oh, yeah, there he is. So he nearly won last year, losing out to Rory. Prior to the Rocket Mortgage, where he struggled, he's gained with the putter in 7 straight starts. The approach play is a bit inconsistent, but he almost always follows a miscut with a top 20 or better finish, and I expect that trend to kind of continue this week. He is Scottish as well, so you could argue that there's a bit of like a hometown type of energy when it comes to playing well in your hometown course. You might think that's semantics, but like it almost won in the event last year. That's all I'm saying. The other thing, too, is if you want to get really technical here, the RBC Canadian Open is technically a course comp, if that's your kind of energy. I don't really love those kind of things, but he did just win the RBC Canadian Open this year. Similar style course. Probably will do well this week. So that's my 2 cents on McIntyre. Anybody else in this range, or you want to get into the 6K?
6K it is, baby.
All right. Go Tom McKibben. 6K, Will Zalatoris. Wow, how the mighty have fallen. Zalatoris has fallen off 6,900 all the way down to, oh my God, there's a lot of guys in the 6K range.
Oh yeah, try to dig yourself out of that one.
I don't know how to say this guy's last name. Connor Syme? Sim?
Yep. Sim. Anyway, listen up, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how to say this guy's first name because DP World Tour always goes by last name. And I also, for the most part, watch it on mute because I have insomnia, so I'm watching anyway. Ewan Ferguson? Ewan Ferguson? Ewan Ferguson. He won last week, playing in the BMW, finished 29th and 27th in the Italian and KLM Open. This guy has also played this event 3 times with an average finish of 34.3, making the cut all 3 times. 12th last year. This guy's a frickin' monster. Matt Wallace always dominates in the DP World Tour. I'm not really going to highlight him. He's a birdie guy. Sebastian Soderberg, I picked him in the PGA. I picked him in a lot of my DP World Tour tweets, so if you follow that. Outside of the KLM Open where he withdrew, guy's been on a tear. In his last 5 weeks before that, he had, 3 runner-ups and a 3rd place finish. So this guy is on a freaking tear. You're welcome in advance. Let me keep going. Where's my guy?
I thought you liked Wiesberger.
I'm not a huge fan of him this week, even though he is 1 and finished 26 and 48 respectively. Yeah. I think that actually might be it for my highlights.
Okay. Let me dig into mine a little bit. Everybody just kind of, strap in. I've got some of the same names, but I'll just highlight other things. I'm going to start with Matthew Pavon. He's one of the biggest question marks at this point every week. He's lost strokes gained around the green in 8 of his last 10 starts. During that time, he has 5 missed cuts. I'm counting a T67 in a no-cut field with 70 guys as a miscut. Suck it if you don't think that's a miscut. I'm sorry. But, he's the 3rd worst field at an elevated event, bro. You don't want that in your lineup. During that time, though, where he's missed 5 cuts, he's also got 3 top 15 finishes. 4th of July is over, but Matthew Pavon is a lot like a firecracker in the driveway that just keeps waiting to go off. You don't want to go sticking your head in that firework and then having it blow up in your face. And that's what it feels like Pavon is every fucking week. Next, we have...
This is a rated R podcast.
Sorry. I'll keep it more PG. I apologize. Up next, we have Ewan Ferguson, which Jack talked about. He won the BMW International Open last week. He gains strokes gained off the tee routinely. His approach play is probably the toughest part of his game, where it's a little bit sporadic. He can gain 4 strokes on approach, or lose 4 or lose 4 on approach. His recent finishes include first T29, T27, a withdraw due to being sick. So I think you're good there. T47, T11, and T23. So the guy just rattles off like T25 and better finishes. I'll talk about Jordan Smith. He finished runner-up at the BMW International Open. This guy is all over the place on the DP World Tour. He played in the PGA Championship this year, the Open last year, the Genesis Scottish Open last year, and the U.S. Open last year. All of those were T40 or better finishes, and he was T12 last year on his finish. He is not going to be fazed by being in a PGA Tour type of tournament. He's an elite ball striker with a putting problem. I'm higher than him probably than Ewan this week, but I don't think he'd be one of my top 2 or 3 guys as far as DP World Tour guys. If you want a short game wizard, look no further than Ben Griffin. The off the tee is going to be a big question. It's not pretty. He's really not good off the tee. But again, around the green play, putting, he's going to be your guy this week. He has the ability to really gain 8 strokes and lose 8 strokes putting at any point in time. It's either going to make him top 10 or probably miscut. And so bear that in mind if you choose the Ben Griffin route. Sebastian Soderberg, when you take everybody in the field's last 24 rounds, the player that ranks number 1 in adjusted fit, at least. Adjusted fit, don't come at me in the comments. You know who you are. Number 1 in adjusted fit, Sebastian Soderberg. Yeah, that's right. Go after Jack. So he's gained 1.14 strokes to the field in approach alone. He has gained, he also has 4 T3 or better finishes in his last 5 starts. One of those should have been a win, but he choked the win away at the Scandinavian Mixed. So of the DP World Tour guys, between him and McKibben are probably 1 and 2 as far as my choices.
That was a worse choke than Jordan Spieth at the Masters.
Well, yeah, that's one way of describing it. I want to say my guy is in here.
I have one more that I just remembered. If you want to, so Thorbjorn Olesen, he's back on the DP World Tour. Can we see a revival? Because the last time he played on the DP World Tour, yeah, he won. He's been fine on the PGA Tour. Has not been great, not terrible. He's kind of been middling. I'm thinking revival here, and if you're giving me at $6K a guy, I don't know, it's worth a shot.
He's one of the guys I liked as well. I had him in a lineup initially, but I had to move it around and he didn't fit anymore. I have two more guys. Laurie Cantor, who
let's go.
Yep, elite off the tee and approach player. His putter will hemorrhage him from winning pretty much any tournament that he participates in. He did win the European Open a month ago. He gained 9 strokes putting in that tournament somehow. He's also played in 2 live tournaments this year, which is interesting.
Alternate.
Yeah, he was an alternate. He finished T15 and T21, which I understand. It's like, well, it's a live tournament. There's 45 guys, but like it is pretty good competition, all things considered at this point with the amount of big names in there. And he did finish top half of those. A links course assassin, Victor Perez. He was a Scotland resident for a while. He finished 3rd at the RBC Canadian, which again, I talked about. You could argue that is the comp course. So again, he's an interesting option at 6,300 if you want, a normal guy who plays on the PGA Tour most weeks. Novak is also sneaky. Sorry, didn't even get to him. Andrew Novak. No, Andrew Novak 6,200.
Did you just say no to that?
100%, because I know that you're also a tennis nerd too.
Not that deep.
Well, you'll probably name more tennis guys than I know. Andrew Novak did finish 10 last week. He was on that streak at the beginning of the year, kind of got cold for a few weeks, and then the last 3-4 weeks just kind of started to heat back up. It's a viable option. He has played well here in the past at the Scottish Open. He's made a couple cuts. Do with that information what you choose, whether you want to play him this week or not. So into the 5K range we go. We are starting with Nick Taylor at 5,900 all the way down to, oh boy.
Can't wait to see who you pick out.
Who's the funniest name here?
Is Hurley Long down there?
I like Aki Sturdom or Stridham.
It's my guy. He's my cousin. Anyway, Callum Hill, 5,900. Outside of the Italian Open, he has hit top 40 in 5 straight events. In his 2 starts here, he has, 3 starts here, He has 2 top 26 finishes. So he's proven that he can play with the big dogs. I think this is going to be a really good course for him. Runner-up at the Volvo Championship or mixed, BMW 32nd, and then a great standing on the European Open, which is a massive event. So I think he's going to be really, really good. Where are my guys?
You want to talk about Bjork? I know you liked Bjork.
Well, yeah, Alexander Bjork. First of all, let me just say, if you were an OG fan of the Turn Dog Golf Pod, you would know I pretty much used his picture on any DFS lineup I had for like 6 weeks straight because he kept raking me in money. He's been a little more consistent on the DP World Tour side this year. He's played this event all 5 times. Average finish at 36.8, gaining strokes everywhere except for 0.12 loss on approach. So he's a viable option. Why can I not find my guys? Jungwon Lee, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to go, excuse me, Jack? That does not sound like a European guy. Well, he's not. Spoiler alert. He is a monster on the Asian Tour, Korean Tour. This guy is just insane. He's slept on. He's slipping on the OW. Excuse me.
Let me be abundantly clear. I did like an hour of research on this guy today. I could only find stats for him on 3 tournaments. That is how obscure the Korean Tour was. I'm talking like deep stats, Jack, not just like tournament finishes, all right?
You want to know deep stats about Jungwon Lee? Well, he's currently 319th in the OWGR with 48 advisor on point. What?
313 as of 35 minutes ago.
That's what I said.
Oh, okay. I heard 319.
Nope, 313. Best OWGR is 305. Playing at a divisor in his last 5 events of 1,000 consecutively. He has a T8, T30, T13, T20 in that stretch. He has a T9 at the Korea Match Play event, which is one of the biggest events in the Asia circuit. He has massive finishes outside of the Korean stretch, especially in the biggest events in the world. I think he's being so slept on. Guy's a pure ball striker, and he has the worst pictures of any golfer on the entire stretch. If you look at anything, they show him one slamming a club, one with a 1-arm finish, and one with his head in his hands like this. It's ridiculous. I don't know why they did that to my guy, but he's going to win you guys money this week.
I just want to point out, same buddy. If you are another guy who's bad at having photos taken of you, buddy, I got you. I'm in the same boat. I am awful at it. Here's my notes on him. Guy is a borderline mystery. I only found 3 starts for him, all of which were top 10 finishes, and that was in a T8 at the International Series Morocco, a 2nd at the Myeong Open, and a T10 at the Korean Championship. Then I went through, I found out he's on the Korean Tour, which basically gives 0 information other than finishing position. He had 6 runner-ups on the Korean Tour in the last 6 months, which is insane. He started this year ranked 565th in the world in terms of rankings. And as Jack said, he now ranks 313th. So kind of disgusting how he's come from absolute obscurity. But at 5,300, he's probably going to be one of the best options below 5,500, if not more. I will talk about another one of Jack's old guys, Romain Langescu. I can't say his name. The French.
Langescu.
Thank you. Words are hard. His profile basically gives off-brand Ryan Fox. He's great with the putter and great with the driver. Irons are a weekly question of whether he's going to basically be a top 10 or a miscut. He's got way more volatility than a lot of the other guys. But if you want somebody that nobody else is taking, go with the man Romain. Julien Guerrier. I'm gonna take a guess on that last name. I know he's French, so Guerrier is my as close as I'm gonna get to it. He is basically a Davis Thompson level of hot right now, which I know you guys are gonna laugh at. But he's got 4 straight top 20s on the DP Tour, and he's averaging 7.55 strokes gained tee to green during that stretch. So he is on that proverbial heater. So if you want somebody that is absolutely on fire, Julien Guerrier is probably your best bet.
Yeah, I'll speak up one more guy. His name is Pablo Larrazabal. Now, let me just say, in the entire field, he ranks worst by over 12 shots. That is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life of people that have played at least one event here. Do not take him. If you want a fun guy to cheer for, Kira Daichi Barnrat is in here. He is famously known for getting scolded at Augusta National for vaping and smoking cigarettes. I don't really have anything else on him because I don't think he's going to do well. Grant Forrest is in this field. He finished top 12. I think it's finished 11th here. Last year has made the cut. Where are my notes on him? In 4 or 5 tries with an average finish of 49.2. So if you can be a guy at 5,300, 4 for 5 on cuts here, it's a pretty good stretch. He's been playing some not great golf, but there's some guys in here that you can go to. Jesper's in here. He's been, a staple. Gumberg is in here. Haotong Lee is in here. Marcus Seam is in here. Stuart Zink, Open champion winner. Like there's guys in here you can get to. I just think you have to stay to the top half of the 5K range.
I will say this. Do not load your lineup with just all PGA guys. There are almost always like a half dozen of DP World Tour guys that finish top 20 in this event. Do you maybe have to take a chance and hope you guess one of them? Sure. But if you put 6 guys in your PGA Tour lineup, there's a high likelihood you're having two of them miss the cut. You should have at least one guy who regularly or at least semi-regularly plays on the DP World Tour in your lineup. Whether it's like Thorbjorn Olesen, I know I had a speech impediment there, we're good, or something like that, or Soderberg or McKibben. One of those guys is more popular, but you should have at least one of them in. Both the Højgaard brothers are in this field. If you want to go with one of them, I recommend Nicolai, because Rasmussen has missed his last couple cuts. But go with one DP World Tour guy. All right, with that, Jack, are we going right into DraftKings lineup?
Yes. Rory McIlroy, 11,900. Ludwig Aubert, 10,500. Aaron Rai, 8,300. Tom McKibben, 7K. Callum Hill, 5,900. And Jungwon Lee at 5,400.
There you go. For my DraftKings lineup, Xander Schauffele, 11,700. Colin Morikawa, 10,300. Hideki Matsuyama, 9,400. Bernard Wiesberger, 6,600. Sebastian Soderberg, 6,400. Jungwon Lee. I
hate when I put notes in this and you go, oh, who's the cheap guy? I hate that.
No. I had the research on Lee before I even checked your notes.
My FanDuel lineup, Rory McIlroy, 12,100. Xander Schauffele, 12K. Ludwig Aubert, 11,600. Tommy McKibben, 9K. Callum Hill, 7,700. And my guy, Jungwon Lee, 7,200.
You can take him as your guy. I mean, hey, like I see you have Ferguson top 40 in here. I don't know a thing about Ferguson. All right, I'll just get rid of one of your bets right now. I did no research on him. I'm just saying, Jungwon Lee was one of those guys. When you have 3 top 10s in a noticeable field, and that is all the data I have on you, I'm gonna do more research. FanDuel, Xander Schauffele, 12,000. Colin Morikawa, 11,800. Tom Kim, 10,800. Aaron Rai, 9,700. Sebastian Soderberg, 8,500. Jungwon Lee, 7,200. Bets, what do you got this week?
I have 11.
Of course you do. All right, take your list. Go through them quick. Come on.
Okay. Aaron Rai, 43rd or better, former winner. Hit this line in those last 7 events. Xander Schauffele, top 20, minus 163. He's hit this in his last 9 straight with an average placement of 17.7 here. He has a win, a 10th, and a 42nd place finish. Colin Morikawa, top 30, minus 188. Has struggled here in the past, but top 30 in his last 8 events with his worst finish being 16th. He should smack this. Tommy Fleetwood, top 40, minus 190. His average placement here is 9.4 in 4 tries. He's due for a win. He's hit this on the PGA Tour in 8 of his last 10. Tom McKibben, top 40, plus 120. He's hit this on 11 of 14 events on the year. His last 3 in the DP World Tour have been 2, 6, and 8. Hammer this line. Sebastian Soderberg, top 40, plus 160. He withdrew in his last event, but before that, he had 2, 3, 2, 2 in his last DP World Tour starts. His kid's a monster. Lock it in. Ewan Ferguson, top 40, plus 160. Win in his last event. 12th year last year. He has 3 straight top 30 finishes. Lock it in. Thorbjorn Olesen, top 40, plus 190. He is an international soil revival time. 5 of his last 6 back-to-back top 30s here, and he's looked better on the PGA Tour in recent weeks. We have Callum Hill, top 40 in 5 of his last 6 events. average placement of 38 here, so inside that line with 2 top 26 finishes. Jungwon Lee, as I said, monster on the Asian and Korean Tour. He's hit top 40 in 6 of his last 7 events. Lock it in at plus 30 or 333, and Callum Hill top 40 is also plus 230. And then Thomas Dietrich top 40 at plus 120. Those odds are really too good for a guy that's been a staple at this event, and I'm finally going to take a breath.
There you go. Nice 11. I stuck with 6 this week. So mine are a little more well-known names. I actually only stuck with PGA Tour guys because, again, I think DP World Tour guys are going to be very much 50-50. First one is Benny On, top 40 at plus 100. Again, he's got great history here. Not that it really matters, but it's always nice in terms of bonuses. And he's got great off tee play. Tom Kim, top 30 at minus 110. Again, he's played well here, even though he doesn't hit the ball long. Hideki Matsuyama, top 30 is plus 100. So Hideki Matsuyama's got better odds for top 30 than Tom Kim, and he's probably just on about the same level. So we'll take that. And there are 3 guys, round 1, top 20. Give me Rory McIlroy, plus 150, Xander Schauffele, plus 162, and Morikawa, plus 200. I have a gut feeling at least 2 of those 3 will hit. If you get 2 of those 3 to hit, you're going to win some nice money.
Fair enough.
That's the thought process. I think all 3 are probably hitting? Probably not. I think 1 probably misses outside top 20, but the other 2 will hit.
Fair enough.
Cool. All right, are we going winners or wildcard picks?
Let's go wildcard since I smacked one last week. It is a plus 2,724 with Callum Hill, Jungwon Lee, Tom McKibben, and Xander Schauffele top 40 parlay. Throw $1 on this. I put more than that because I'm a degenerate, but don't follow that bet. Don't follow that bet. Don't follow that bet.
Is it sad? I kind of like my wildcard pick. I kind of really like it. I think
it's not that out there.
Yeah, I mean, but it's plus 420 odds, which is solid. I know 420. Yeah, I got you. Tom McKibben
stay off the weed.
There you go. Tom McKibben and Sebastian Soderberg, top 40 parlay, plus 420. So again, those are both guys that I think Jack and I would consider probably 1 and 2 as far as DP World Tour. Maybe 2 and 3 if you think somebody else is better, but again, Rory, very high. Well, shit, you're right. My fault. My bad, Rory. All right. Anyways, on to winners. Who are your winners this week?
I'm going Xander Schauffele. I think he's looked way too consistent. I think he's probably going to finish top 10. I think he's just been so consistent, and I think he has just beautiful penetrating irons this year. And then I have Tom McKibben, who is DraftKings really mispriced him because you look at any other book and he's like 15 times more expensive everywhere in terms of odds. So DraftKings admin, if you're listening to this, fix it. Actually, yeah. Well, I already locked it in. So yeah, definitely fix it.
Yeah, on FanDuel, I did take a look because I was curious. I think he's like in the 9K price point on FanDuel, maybe like 9,500. Don't quote me on that exact number. But he's significantly more exponentially more expensive on DraftKings or on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. So McKibben will be an interesting play. We'll see how that one goes. My winners, I'm taking Collin Morikawa for my 1. And then my second winner, I technically used his duo at the Zurich, but I'm going to use him as a solo this week. If you yell at me that that I used him in the Zurich in the past, sorry. But I'm taking Robert McIntyre. Again, he did really well last year. I think he can do the same this year. So that's me. All right. That is the Genesis Scottish Open. Next week, Open Championship. It's going to be a good week as far as that goes. I know that the Open Championship always leads to more viewership. So again, if you guys are a week early, I appreciate you. But next week we are going to Royal Troon. I think we're staying in Scotland, right? Royal Troon is still in Scotland?
Yeah.
All right, look at that. Every once in a while, I just got it in the bag still.
Royal Troon is one of the most famous courses in the world.
Bro, I forget what I eat for breakfast half the time.
You don't eat breakfast.
Exactly. That's why, because I forget. But no, with that, safe betting this week. Enjoy yourselves. As far as betting, if you bet a little less this week, save up for the Open Championship next week. Totally understand it. Just follow Jack's bets, all 25 of them. But with that, we will leave you guys to it. Have a good one. Happy betting. Deuces.